So,
Tell me, what are
I
you looking today for?
while I was reading, like I saw there is something called product backlog, right? Where the product owner puts everything which needs to be done. Then I read,
So backlog is not product owners, it's product management. Product backlog is product management.
okay,
They put everything that needs to be done at a future level.
okay,
Product owner picks from the product backlog
okay,
and fills the team backlog.
okay. So what happens when like we are supposed to do? We pick 20 things. They give us 20 things to do. We could only do 15. Where do the five go? Do they go to the sprint backlog
No.
or
So usually on the last day of the sprint, there is a sprint demo. At this
Mhm.
time, the team presents all the work which they have already presented, but if they can show it functioning, they will present it to the product owner and any other stakeholders. At that point of time, the team and the Scrum Master highlight the work that they have done and the work they could not do and why they could not do. Now, the product owner decides if this work is still relevant and should be done in the next sprint, or if we have missed the date or whatever, and now this is no longer that highly critical, so let's push it out in the backlog. So based on the product owner's opinion, then the Scrum Master will either roll this over in the next sprint or put it in the backlog.
which
Yep.
backlog?
The team backlog.
Okay.
So there's product backlog where all the I want to make a car. Okay. To make a car, car is my epic. I want to make a car. To make a car, I need to make sure that I have a chassis ready. That's feature number one. Then I need to make sure that my CPU is ready to handle the car. That is feature number two. Now there'll be a bunch of other features. As a product owner, my team is responsible for the axles that are built in the car. Okay, so there is a chassis that needs to be built. So the product owner knows, oh, in that case, my team will have to work on the axle. So for that feature of chassis, product owner one will bring in the relevant stories that he thinks his team needs to do to contribute to completing that feature of building a chassis. There will be other teams as well, and those product owners will also accordingly bring in their respective stories, and they are all talking to each other. So nothing is getting missed. So by the end of it, every team's product owner has picked up some part of that work of building a chassis. And when every team completes their stories, then that feature gets completed and a chassis is built.
Okay.
Right?
This is like much more easier.
No problem.
Technical debt was very easy to understand. Like what I understood is, let's say we have to get something done. We have super less time. So these are the two scenarios which come to my mind. The first thing, the team is running super short on time. They hard code it, and there is some technical debt which needs to be fixed later.
Yeah, it's not always just a time
Yeah.
decision. Could also be a cost-based
Mhm.
decision. The cost of implementing the right way is too high. And right now, I don't think we need it, so we'll just hard code it.
Okay. And the other one being like the product owner brings a different, like a new feature which he does not want to like wait, and he needs to get it done in the current sprint, and then they do it,
Think of
which
technical debt like, again, using a car analogy. Your front tire has one puncture, you fix it. And every month you notice that it has one puncture or the other. Now you have a technical debt. You know
yeah,
that you have to have the tire replaced.
yes,
But the tire costs $500. Fixing a puncture costs like $20-$30. So you are incurring a technical debt of
that
replacing the tire and just going the short way of
but
fixing the puncture.
fixing it, yes,
But one day, if you don't fix your technical debt, the tire will burst and you will be stuck on the road. So
yeah,
you have to take care of the technical debt before that day comes.
yes,
Right? That's
perfect,
how
yes.
technical debt is.
And the next, I could not understand personas at all. Like I get it, like they are a imaginary thing,
Yeah. So
but
so personas are like okay. Imagine a toy company building
yeah,
toys, right? Who are their clients? Their clients are children, let's say age group 8 to 10. Product management knows that who are these children, but the people working in the workshop or the warehouse don't know these children. So product owner will create a persona. There is a fidgety Ralph. There'll be some story. This is his age. This is what he likes to do. He loves throwing his toys around, or he drags them through the mud. So every persona will have a personality. Now the development team in this case, they know, okay, this toy that we're building, maybe we're building a new transformer toy, so it needs to be such that a Rowdy Ralph can also play with it, or whatever name I gave, and so on and so forth. So when they start building the stories, they are able to now all of a sudden associate to who the end user is, and how will this product, one, help them, and two, are we building the right thing? Now, a product owner might have an opinion, but if the team thinks that, hey, this does not solve the problem. You said we should have, you have this one persona. This guy is so, he's so rough and tough with the toys. You want to use a very fragile material on the outer layer, but this will be contrary to this persona. So, do you want to still do it? Because then this persona will have an issue with it. It puts the product owner and the product team on the spot to think. So personas help the development team understand the user, but they go beyond that to also trigger meaningful conversations in the group to make sure that we're building the right solution.
So personas are technically
A
the
fictive
user, let's say technical the user, like a fictional
Yes.
character, a user, like
Fictional
you
character
are
of a
building it
user.
for me. Yeah.
Yes. They basically define all the different kind of users, because the development team usually does not have direct contact to those users. This helps them understand who the user is and how it's going to be using this solution.
Fair, fair. Now I get it bit easier because I was getting confused. Is the persona the product or the customer?
Yeah.
Or let's say if it's the user, then I understand it a little bit. But if it's a product, then I was like scratching my head. No,
No.
but I have a better understanding of that now. Like, nice, nice, very
Mhm.
nice. I will ask you maybe one more question. Oh, I have a small thing. Do I have to like remember this? Like, there is so much in here, like the
No.
charts and stuff. Cause
You
I
don't have
would, yeah,
you don't have to remember, you have to understand how it comes in play.
yeah,
And obviously, there are some technical words that you want to keep a
yeah,
memory of, because when in an interview, nobody is going to explain something.
yeah,
They'll just use the word and ask you a
yeah.
question, and you need to be able to relate to what they're asking.
The art of saying no was pretty straightforward. Like, you either try to delay it, give them proper options. Like, if not right now, then we can do it on the next sprint. That was pretty easy and
Yeah,
straightforward.
yeah.
I
It,
had no issues with that.
it's
Yeah,
easy. It's easy to read and understand. It is
yeah,
difficult to
to
implement,
apply.
especially when
Yeah,
the person across you is two levels
very
higher
pushy.
than you.
Yeah,
He's a VP
he's
who
pushy.
has the capability to fire you if you don't handle him
Yeah,
properly. So that is where the subtlety of managing a relationship comes in play.
yeah, like the definition of ready. I get it what it would be, but can you give me a like example in a real world, like in one of your older project? What was a definition of ready?
So firstly, a definition of ready is a entry criteria.
Yeah,
It can be an entry criteria for any phase. It can be an entry criteria for bringing a feature in. It can be an entry criteria for grooming a story, or any of those levels. A definition of ready is not something that you build to the final details that you need to be 100% for us to start the work. Now, usually a definition of ready would be in a story at a story level. And here the idea is that we are operating agile. So there is a certain level of ambiguity that might be there, and that's okay. So we don't want when you bring a story in as a product owner that it's like 100% ready, but we want enough, and this is agreed with the team. We want enough clarity for us to at least start the work. So usually a definition of ready at a story level could be that it is one, the story is linked to the feature it needs to be worked on. because as a team you are working towards outcomes. Outcomes are not stories. A group of stories together become an outcome, right? Like the chassis is the outcome. A small axle work may not be the outcome, but what happens many times is that when stories are not correctly linked, you might end up doing the work and that work is actually not going towards the outcome. It is a waste. So it needs to be linked. The feature that is being worked on needs to be an approved feature. The story needs to have the acceptance criteria at a baseline written, and the story obviously needs to be written. So all these elements usually are at a high level what you want. So as a product owner, he needs to make sure that he has clarity of what the story is and what he thinks is the acceptance criteria for the story once the story is completed. All of these they get streamlined and changed and corrected throughout the grooming session, but the initial bit needs to come from the product owner so that there is some direction already set that the team needs to work towards.
So technically, stories are like a document kind of thingy, which you constantly keep on editing, fixing, or shortening kind of
Story is
things.
a very story is just a conversation starter. Let's say we're talking about a login page, right? So it could be, as a user, I want to enter my user ID and password so that when submitted, I can get access to my account information. That is a story. As a user role, I want to action so that the expected result out of it. Now, obviously, the acceptance criteria won't be that simple. The acceptance criteria might have 7 or 8 different acceptance criteria to cover, positive and negative. But this two line of stories writing will trigger a conversation between the software development team and the product owner. The software dev team might ask the password, do you want it to be alphanumeric? Do you want any kind of a captcha to make sure that you're not getting spammed? After how many attempts should the system lock the user? Do you want the account lock to be automatically reset after 30 minutes? All those things. So the story is pretty simple. Enter user ID, enter password, hit submit, get access. But there are so many other things that the developers need to know how should the system behave when any of these things happen or they don't happen. Right. So those are the conversations that are happening and they get clarity. And based on that, some acceptance criterias might get added or removed and all those things.
Okay, nice, nice. I understand it a little bit better.